Welcome to the Cross Counsel Podcast. We believe you have been created in God's image. However, as in all of us, the likeness of Christ has been diminished and needs to be restored by the experiential love and truth of Jesus. My name is Steve Freitag. I'm a former pastor and have been a part of Cross Counsel for over 25 years, facilitating more than 10,000 ministry sessions. In this podcast, we aim to share helpful insights and inspiring testimonies to support you on your journey. You don't need to be a spiritual giant to receive ministry with us. Just a courageous heart, open and willing to God's refining fire. Those who dive into our melt process find immediate help and lasting hope. This is changing generations. We've heard from many of you who have been blessed by our podcast and ministry. If you find value in what we do, we invite you to visit our website at crosscounsel.com, and you can support us, including this podcast, with a special financial gift, or even more importantly, consider becoming a monthly supporter to sustain our ministry and keep these podcasts coming. Your support makes a lasting impact now and in generations to come, both here in the States and in many places all over the world. We've got Justine with us today. Justine, why don't you introduce yourself? Let us know about you and your world.
Yeah, my name is Justine Roberts, and I live up in the North Woods by Lake Superior here with my husband, John, and I have a 7-year-old son, Ben, and a 6-year-old daughter, Thora. Yeah, so I first heard about Cross Counsel through Carol, who is my aunt. And we had gotten together. I know she had mentioned it a couple of times, but we had gotten together when she was up with her family in this area. And she was like, "Hey, we're out on Lake Superior staying in an Airbnb. You should come up and visit with us." And we always love a chance to visit with the Mitzelfeld. So we did get together, and we were just out by the lake, and she was telling me about just some of what she had gotten out of Cross Counsel and her experiences. And at the time, I was going through some health struggles. So there was like that physical toll. And I think that around that time, there was also like some soul stress as well, because it was all of that culminating stress. And the things that I was stuffing down weren't staying where I would put them. So I think I remember saying to her, I'm listening to these beautiful stories of transformation. And I think I got teary at it. And I was just like, well, why won't God heal me? And she was just like, "You should come to Cross Counsel. You should try this." And I was just intrigued at like, I want to see for myself what comes out of these sessions, what's going on here. And so I did end up booking the intro call with Jenny and watching the video. And then I had a session. My first session was with Mary. And it was really good, because I remember when she asked, "What do you want to look at?" And it was just this overarching feeling of like feeling like God was far away. Like I can be doing all of the things to try and be near him or get close to him, and just feeling like it was a treadmill. And like I can make effort, but I'm not really getting anywhere. And it was just this beautiful session of like, that was just not true at all. And just got to see, God showing me like, I am right here and I've always been right here with you. And after that experience and just the feeling following it, how, I think I experience like a lot of peace, patience, a lot of things that it's like more akin to the fruits of the Spirit after I have a session where, I've gotten that truth from the Lord. And so I could tell that right away. And it was almost like after that first session, like I could not go back to life the way that it was before.
Wow.
Like it's like I can't go back to the way it was now that I know that that this is something that's available for everyone who's willing. So yeah, over time, it just, the more sessions that you have, the more you chip away at the layers of the things that you're carrying and believing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I've definitely seen a change, and it's really altered that. It's such a positive improvement from like that soul stress that I was describing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just all of that going on. This is way better.
Yeah, and you probably knew so much stuff in your head, right? It's so incredible the difference. I was just talking to one of our facilitators, and they're working with somebody who's in ministry and has been educated. And just after the first couple sessions, this person said, "This changes everything." Like,
Yeah,
yeah, you've read our emails, you've listened to our podcast, and I don't know if they have or not, but it's like it does change everything.
yeah, yeah. I think even just sharing those stories of like my experiences in sessions, like I can say like, this is so great, you should come try this.
Mm-hmm.
It really is like a taste and see. It's like, come and see for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
because you could take my word for it, or you could come and experience for yourself, which is what I really think the Lord wants. Like, he wants relationship with us, and this is an opportunity and an open door for everyone who will pursue it.
Mm-hmm. And if you'll indulge me, our men's group Bible study, we're going through Luke 18, and we come upon the story of the rich young ruler.
Yeah,
And he's got everything that you would want on earth. He's not only got money, he's got power. He's a ruler.
yeah,
And yet he still recognizes at some level he's got a problem. I don't know about my future. When I plots, when I'm gone, right? How do I inherit the kingdom of God? What's going to happen next? So I think he comes with some level of sincerity. He's got a problem, and he knows that maybe this guy, if he gets in with Jesus, that maybe that's going to fix it. And Jesus offers him a solution to his problem, which is sell all your possessions and then give the money to the poor, which is not really a requirement to enter the kingdom of God. But for that particular situation, Jesus is testing that guy's heart. You came to me with a problem. Let me give you a solution. And it's like, oh, he went away sad. Like, oh, I'm not willing to go that far. And it made me think of a couple things. It made me think, of course, of this ministry, and I can talk about that in a second, and maybe you can add to some things there too. But as many of you know, I just went through a knee replacement surgery. And if you were to ask me, hey, Steve, would you like to be at 100% of what you could be after the surgery? Yeah, I'll do what it takes to get to 100%. Okay. And then there's the reality of rehab and and Jenny just did a wonderful job taking care of me and then putting into work. I've got this amazing physical therapist, Matt, who a love-hate relationship, which is the way it's supposed to be. And we were friends, and we're just like, it's a deeper friendship, and it's just really cool. But he told me the other day, he said, you're at 80%, and most insurance companies would say, you're good. You're at 80%. You made it. All right, 80%. I can be functional the rest of my life. And then he went on to talk about, okay, if you want to get to 100%, then this is what we need to do. And he's super gracious, but he lays it out. I can help here, 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 and here. And you'd have to do this, 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 and this. And I'm going, I don't know if I want to do that.
yeah. Weighing it out in your mind.
Exactly. Sell all your possessions. It's the same thing. Like, we are so excited at Cross Counsel for what God does. And people will hear your story. They've heard other people's story and they go, oh, I want that.
Yeah.
Because I have a problem, whatever that is, whatever insecurities, um, anxieties, anger, relationship problems, whatever those things are, I've got a problem. Oh, maybe what God does here across council can be the solution. Oh, but then I have to go to the pain. I have
Yeah.
to own my stuff. Oh, I don't know if I'm willing to do all that. I don't say that in a sense of condemnation. I'm just in a sense of reality. So we talked about it at study this morning. It's like, I don't know if you can say he was sincere or not sincere. I think he was partly sincere. And
Yeah.
Jesus exposed the part of him that wasn't as sincere as he thought he might be. So,
Yeah.
any reactions to that?
Oh, I I think that is, yeah, we see it more than we may realize. Like, um, that was part of. I don't know if you're ready to go into it yet, but like talking to other people was the segue into the session that
Mhm.
I had with you.
Perfect.
I think it was a Thursday.
Mm.
And I scheduled this. I'm like, I need a session with Steve. I'll talk to people about transformational prayer and cross counsel. And I described it to you as getting sideways eyes from people, kind of just that, like, what's the catch sort
Mm.
of expression on their face. And it would just leave like this lump in my throat, or this longing that there was really not enough that I could say to win them over,
Mm.
or feeling like I just couldn't aptly express like how good this is. Like I just
Mhm.
came up short. And we had worked on that, and it ended up connecting, of course, to earlier memories. And what happened is we ended up running out of time, and we ended up kind of ending in this place where, I had what I believed was like the core belief, but something was getting in the way that I couldn't finish that session with you.
Mhm. Yeah, it's
And
funny. If I can, it's like
yeah,
sometimes we have these standoffs with Jesus.
yeah, yeah. Well, and what was getting in the way was me. I mean,
Right,
I'll
right.
fully own that. But in the so we wrapped up that session, and just because of like other expectations that I had in the day, I couldn't stay and just have that peace and quiet up in my room to finish it out.
Mhm.
So I ended up doing that on, I think it was a Tuesday, the following Tuesday. So
Mm.
all that weekend I was thinking about like how my heart felt.
Mhm.
And it was like hopeful but heartbroken,
Mm.
because I knew that I needed to go back to what we had looked at. But there was this sense, wrongly placed, but there was this sense of like, Jesus forgot that I had this appointment with Steve. How could he? But yeah, yeah.
He didn't
So
bring it all. Come on.
yeah. So on that Tuesday, I'm like, I've got to deal with this. My husband is so sweet. He's like, I'll take the kids, we'll get out of the house, just do what you need to do. And it was just all of that, just the emotion from our session the prior Thursday was still really fresh. You
Mhm.
connect with those emotions, you go to those memories, and it was definitely easier for me to tap back into that, doing my own readdressing of the
Mm.
session. But yeah, um, so I started from the beginning, and I thought about like when I talk to people about transformational prayer, and I kind of get those sideways eyes, and this is how I feel. I had to really kind of confront myself on how willing I was going to be to look at like where that emotion was going to go,
Mm.
because we got hung up in like some anger that just turned into a dead end. And so on round 2, just me going through the session, I ended up connecting the emotion that I get when I get looked at crazy by people
Mm.
with a memory when I was probably about 4. And the context is that starting at the age of 4, I had glasses, and they were just, that was a part of reality of being Justine.
Mhm.
I had glasses. And so the memory for me was walking up the steps of my church that I grew up in. And I just remember like looking down at my feet because it was like I could feel in the memory people at my church looking at me. And when they would look at me, it was like this sense of I'm not accepted, because when they look at me, they're going to see my glasses.
Mm.
And so that's what bubbled up to the top there. And I was just like, wow, this is the thing. And the core lie of like, what did I believe because this happened? It all fit together. And I was feeling in all of this. And so the core lie was just, it sounds so extreme. And I think it's probably more common than some people might realize. But little 4-year-old me was believing like it would be better if I hadn't been born because I just don't fit in because I'm different.
Mm.
And that's what I believed there. And so I asked Jesus, what do you want me to know about this here? And, I take a minute and just wait on him for what he's going to bring. And I could just see this. It was like a glowing sphere of like opalescent light from a distance. And Jesus is standing beside me. And it was just like this vision of the beginning of creation. And he's saying, I had you in mind.
Mm.
And that was like exactly what I needed to hear, because it wasn't like, you were just, just something I whipped up. It was like, no, you were intentional. You were on purpose and you
Wow.
fit into the story.
Mm.
So that was again another experience where the days afterward, it's not just, it goes beyond, checking for the peace in the places that we've come into, following the melt process up to lifting those things up to Jesus. So checking all of those prior places, there was peace, and that I could feel that it's like, when I think of how it feels to get looked at with sideways eyes, because of transformational prayer, I'm more okay with it and at peace that the invitation is put forth, and people can accept or they can decline that invitation. And it's not on me to have to be a salesman, so to speak,
Mhm.
for it. But also afterward, I think such a mark of authenticity when we do hear from Jesus and we have something that we believed removed, that there is patience, there's peace, there's kindness, there's gentleness. I find myself like having such a longer patience fuse when I'm overwhelmed, when I'm putting up with just, everyday situations. And it's just this great, it's almost like an extended time of rest. Like you just had that time with Jesus and you're just enjoying that and experiencing that freedom that came from what you lifted up.
Yeah, when you receive a truth like that in your heart, not just in your head, that I had you in mind. We sometimes talk about the tentacles of lies, right? But the tentacles of truth, how that can permeate things and bring more stability and security. Because if our happiness or well-being or peace is contingent on the side eye we get from somebody,
Mm.
it's a terrible way to live, because then we will end up either compromising ourselves or manipulating others to not get that.
Yeah.
And Jesus never manipulated anybody, and he was never manipulated by anybody. He's not only the only person who lives sinless, he's the only person who ever fill in the blank with that kind of stuff. Never was manipulated, never manipulated. Wow.
Yeah.
It's such a better way to live, and who knows what the implications will be moving on in your marriage and as a mom and as a friend, as a daughter, as a child of God in the kingdom. It's not just about, oh, my little kingdom. It's about God's kingdom.
Mhm.
So that's great. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, yeah. It's good to talk about it and have that like, the finale, the how did it end? It was a
Yeah,
cliffhanger. So
right. Yep. So yeah, the chapter ends, the book is still being written,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So,
yeah. And I also want to mention that I had gone through some of the cross council trainings. I did the level 1 class and really enjoyed it. And when that wrapped up, I really wanted to do level 2. And so I did go on to do level 2 as well. And then in a later level 2 class, was able to come back and go through that again, which was really a wonderful experience just to revisit all of the excellent information that's offered in that course.
yeah, it's great to have you as part of our family. Thanks for joining us on the Cross Council podcast. Keep pursuing transformation with a courageous heart, open to what only He can do. There are many ways to get involved. Pray for us, consider supporting us, share these podcasts, and if you haven't already, take the step to jump in yourself. We'll see you next time.